Hey guys, this is Eckhart Slaughter. Hello and welcome to another Star Wars The Mandalorian video. Now, I'm almost always really excited to talk about The Mandalorian. I love that show. It's probably my favorite Star Wars thing, maybe with the exception of the Thrawn trilogy to come out after Return of the Jedi, and it's brought me a lot of joy, to be frank, throughout its 2 seasons. However, today we got some fairly unfortunate news that 2 upcoming The Mandalorian books, one being a reference book, The Ultimate Visual Guide to The Mandalorian, the other being a new original story being told in a novel, have been perhaps cancelled, perhaps suspended. So let's talk about that today. And unfortunately, in my mind, this is only the most recent of a few sort of downer stories that have at least a little bit dampened the excellent Mandalorian Season 2 finale. First of all, I know a lot of fans, including myself, were a little disappointed to learn that the Book of Boba Fett would kind of be stepping in as a Mandalorian Season 3, and that the actual Season 3 would be a little bit delayed. And of course, there was the whole Gina Carano situation, which I've touched on in a prior video, and now we have this. So let's look at what happened. And again, there are 2 books at discussion today. We've got, first of all, an unnamed Mandalorian original novel. We don't know what it would have been about, whether it would have been about Mando or Cara Dune or another character, but it would have tied into the existing story and, as I've said a few times now, been completely original. Then we also had the Mandalorian Ultimate Visual Guide, and for those of you who don't know, the visual guides are those really cool books that break down the armor of characters, weapons, equipment, droids, starships, background scenes, basically everything. And these are some of my favorite Star Wars books in existence. Now, I do have a little bit of a problem with the Ultimate Visual Guides. I've covered this in a prior video, but basically they put out a lot of different versions that add very little. So they kind of penny pinch you a little bit, but that's not really here or there. I was really looking forward to the Mandalorian Ultimate Visual Guide because there definitely would have been a lot of content in this edition, and I was also really interested to learn more backstory and lore about stuff in the show, which is one reason these books are typically really popular. Alright, so we got 2 tweets today with pretty much the exact same wording from both DK Publishing and Del Rey Star Wars, DK being the publisher of the Mandalorian Ultimate Visual Guide, Del Rey being the novel publisher. They said, due to the ever-expanding world of The Mandalorian, we will no longer be publishing the Mandalorian Ultimate Visual Guide / the Mandalorian novel at this time as the story continues to unfold on screen. So what's going on here? Well, although you may think that DK and Del Rey are separate companies, they are both ultimately subsidiaries of Penguin Random House. So although this could have been, and I think most likely was, a joint PR move between Star Wars or Disney or Lucasfilm or whomever, this could also just have been messaging that came from above within the corporation. And that's kind of important because it's the only real way we can guess what this means. One thing to note is it doesn't say that either the novel or the reference book is cancelled. It just says right now that we can't publish it, although I do think it's very likely that the novel may not see the light of day, at least in the form that it's designed right now. Del Rey even posted a second conciliatory tweet about the author working on other projects, so yeah, I think it's possible that the novel doesn't get published. So what's going on? I think there are 2 clear options of why this is happening, and before we talk about that, I just want to say, yeah, it really sucks. I'm not sure which one I'm most disappointed in, but we've gotten so little stuff surrounding The Mandalorian, despite it being this massive hit. Like, I look at Star Wars Rebels as something that sort of feels a bit more well put together, where Star Wars Rebels came out as a TV show, then these tie-in novels and full books for young adults and children all came out at the same time, whereas it doesn't feel like The Mandalorian had that same level of support. I mean, there wasn't even a Mandalorian show on the Star Wars YouTube channel. If you guys want there to be one, Star Wars, I would be happy to host it, but it feels like Disney may not have understood how big of a hit The Mandalorian was going to be, even after season 1. So I think the first possible option is the less obvious one, but perhaps the more likely one. Is it possible that what Del Rey and DK are saying here is actually true? That The Mandalorian has somehow drastically shifted its plans, and maybe the backgrounds in the stories and the reference book will no longer work for this new big multimedia project that'll be going on in Disney Plus. We know that The Mandalorian, Rangers of the New Republic, and the Ahsoka show are going to tell an interconnected story. Maybe that wasn't the original premise, which could also tie into the rumors that at one point there was a Rebels sequel series, an animated Rebels sequel series series that no longer seems to be in production. The Ultimate Visual Guide does have lots of little bit of lore. Maybe they are holding it off so they can make sure it doesn't clash with anything that comes out in the future, which is something Star Wars probably should have done in the past, because other visual guides have just had straight up wrong information. The other possibility that people are assuming, and that I actually assumed first, but which may not be true, is that these stories were too tied into Cara Dune, of course played by Gina Carano, who is no longer going to be involved with future Star Wars projects. Now, this is definitely still possible. I mean, there's no reason her character can't have a backstory. If she were the star of the novel, yeah, it makes sense that maybe they don't want to invest so heavily in her character if she's no longer going to be continued in the future, but I don't see why they'd have to pull the Ultimate Visual Guide. Like, I know Gina Carano and Disney aren't friends anymore, but do they really need to, or would they remove every single image of her from the visual guide? And if so, would that be such an arduous task that they would need to delay the book indefinitely? I don't know. I definitely went into this whole situation feeling one way and sort of changing my opinion, but now I do feel like it probably is the fact that, yeah, the scope of The Mandalorian has changed. A lot more is being put into live action than was originally planned. The story has expanded because of its popularity, which is something I'm happy they're doing. I'm happy they're kind of running with the success, but on the other hand, put out more stuff. There's no reason why the Ultimate Visual Guide couldn't be, even if it needed to be pared down to a simple explanation of this is his ship, this is the reactor, this is, you know, this weapon on his armor. So yeah, I can't help be annoyed. I kind of understand where it may be coming from. If this is related to Gina Carano, then I will be even more annoyed, and that would be very, very stupid. But if this is sort of delaying things in the name of progress, well, I'll understand. Things we'll probably never know. These are very, very kind of unhelpful statements from DK and Del Rey, but that's all we're gonna get. Anyway, let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments. Is this a Gina Carano thing? Is this a The Mandalorian is more popular than we thought thing? I look forward to reading all of your wonderful thoughts down below. Until next time, guys, be safe, have a good one. May the Force be with you.